Hello and welcome to the Skin Explained. My name is Athina, and today we're going to talk about the root causes of rosacea. So, if you've been struggling with rosacea for years and you've tried a few things, the creams, the pills, the lasers, and nothing's really worked, or your symptoms have improved, but then they've come back, it's not because you've been doing anything wrong, it's because you have been taught or guided to look in the wrong place and you've also only been given a partial understanding of what rosacea truly is. And I'm here to change that today. So, my name is Athina. I am a French cosmetic chemist and biologist, and I have reversed my own rosacea after years of research, trial, and error by using a full body root cause approach. Which has definitely, moved the needle for me after, trying all of the things you have probably tried as well. So I've lived it, I've researched it, and I now help women in this journey. So I am here to empower you with the right pieces of information, with the right context and the right nuance for you to understand what applies to you, not to that lady in the forum, not to that person who's giving random advice to you. So I think applying random advice is one of the things that also may be keeping you stuck in a loop because you don't understand what's going to move the needle for you. And today we're going to talk about exactly this. So, this is something I teach in the Healthy Skin Protocol. It's a framework I have created to simplify my explanations when it comes to the pathophysiology of rosacea, aka what is creating, what is causing rosacea from a physiological standpoint. And so I created something that I call the rosacea tree. I'm going to share my screen now to show it to you. Share full screen. So this is a tool I have created to explain to you guys, and to be very honest with you, it also helps me understand where to, in what category to put things, because I've studied this for over 10 years. And I've always been confused when someone was like, Athina, what's causing rosacea is gut health. What's causing rosacea is my liver being impaired, or my skin barrier being disrupted. And I was like, okay, but why are those things happening in the first place? And I was having a hard time organizing things in my head. And when I made the analogy with a tree, that's when everything clicked. And so I'm here to explain this to you today. So I want you to consider yourself as a tree, or your health for that matter, as a tree. You have your roots, you have a trunk, you have branches, and you have leaves. What's at the roots when it comes to your rosacea is your genetic predispositions. We all have a sense of genetics, and for those of us predisposed to rosacea, we have specific genes that make us more prone to inflammation, and that also makes our skin barrier more prone to being impaired or more sensitive or fragile than others. Our immune system tends to be a little bit more overreactive than others. So we're just more prone to inflammation altogether. Then there's a lifestyle and the environment, how you eat, or how you sleep, what toxins you're being exposed to, your environment, the skincare you're using, all of these things. And then your emotional and mental health. So your roots are going to be feeding your trunk. And your trunk is when the inflammation is happening. So inflammation is happening on a local level, so on your skin, and also in a systemic way, meaning full body. In most cases, it also happens in a chronic way, meaning all the time. And so this inflammation is going to feed internal imbalances. I know this tree doesn't look very cute. I don't know how to edit a YouTube video, and I don't know how to make cute designs. I'll definitely improve my skills there, but I'm just here to share valuable information to you. And I think this is enough for you to understand. But basically, all the things you see listed on both sides of the trunks are the imbalances that belong to the branches. So when your trunk is being inflamed, it feeds branches that can either work optimally or show dysregulations and disruptions. And that's the case when it comes to rosacea. So the number one disruption and dysregulation that I see happening is nervous system dysregulation. This is a very vast topic that I will address in more detail, but when your nervous system is dysregulated, when you're in constant fight or flight, when your stress response is constantly activated, it just triggers a bunch of reactions all over your body, starting in your gut. So gut health disruption is number two. Impaired detox pathways is number three. Based on my experience working with so many women, and all of the things I'm mentioning here are also things that you're going to be able to read about in research. And by the way, there's a tab on my website where I list all of the research I read, and that is explaining all of these things. So if you're a person that's interested into, reading information at the source, then I invite you to check out my website for, all the to read all the research if you're interested. So then neurovascular dysregulation, for those of you experiencing flushes, spider veins, that's what it is. Skin barrier impairment and Demodex overgrowth. So your skin barrier is the outmost layer of your skin. It's supposed to be composed of dead skin cells and dead skin cells that are, very tight with one another and that are covered and linked together by a layer of lipids, your natural moisturizing factor. And that has, on top of this, a very beautiful and a very complex and a very vast population of mites, bacteria, viruses, fungi living in synergy with your skin. And that's your microbiome, your skin's microbiome. So pretty similar to the microbiome that you have in your gut, but it's on top of your skin. And basically, Demodex mites are part of this microbiome in a healthy person. But when it overgrows, then it can lead to inflammation. It can lead to papules and pustules. It can lead to ocular rosacea, and kind of fuel the inflammation topically. That's going to ultimately trigger a cascade of inflammation internally as well. So it's kind of like a vicious circle. And the communication between the roots and the leaves goes both ways. It's a two-way street. So that's very important to understand. And also, all of the systems in your body are working together. It's not going to be like your hormones are working separately. It's not working together with your gut. It's not working together with your detox pathways. It's actually all working together. And if there's an imbalance in one place, there's most likely ultimately going to be imbalances in other places over time. So hormonal imbalances, mitochondrial dysfunction, oxidative stress, and metabolic dysregulation, aka the regulation of your glucose level. That's also, there's a lot of interesting research connecting this to potential rosacea symptoms. So these are the main internal imbalances that have been researched and connected to rosacea through science. And these are your branches when you look at your tree. And then ultimately, your branches are going to give birth to leaves. And if your tree is healthy, the leaves are going to be, green and beautiful and healthy. But if there's an imbalance at the root, in the trunk, and in the branches, then ultimately the leaves aren't going to be looking amazing. And the leaves is the symptoms, the physical symptoms, the things that you see. Namely, obviously, your chronic skin symptoms, digestive symptoms, hormonal symptoms, immune and inflammation symptoms. That's also like if some of you have allergies or food intolerances, mental and emotional symptoms like low mood, and fatigue and energy symptoms. If you're waking up tired, if you have brain fog, if you're experiencing brain fog, if your energy crashes at a specific time of the day, in the morning, in the afternoon, that says a lot about your overall health. So your symptoms are just beliefs. And the way conventional medicine approaches chronic skin symptoms and rosacea is by trying to fix beliefs. And in my experience, it hasn't worked, and it's the case for many of us. And so the question is it an efficient approach? I think with the experience we all have, we can all agree that it's not necessarily working for us. And therefore, a full body root cause approach is a lot more interesting in this case, because if you address what's happening at the roots, namely your genetic predispositions that you can largely influence through epigenetics with your lifestyle, your environment, your emotional and mental health, then you're going to reduce the inflammation in your trunk. You're going to ultimately allow for more balance all over the different organs in your body, namely your gut, your liver, your kidneys, your hormones, your immune system, your neurovascular system, your skin barrier. And then ultimately, it's going to lead to healthier leaves, healthier everything you see, healthier skin, healthier energy. So I'm going to stop sharing this. And so if you understand, now that you understand this, there's a few things, I don't want to say myths, but it's kind of myths, but a few things that we have accepted to be true in what I call the old narrative of rosacea. The first one is that rosacea is a skin condition. I definitely don't agree with it in the sense that, yes, it's the skin being affected, but if you address it as a skin condition, you're going to stay stuck, because even though it shows on the skin, it's not initiated in the skin. So I think that to think that rosacea is a skin condition and to treat it as such is one of the things that keeps us stuck in the long term. Rosacea is an inflammatory condition happening on the skin after, a certain amount of time of internal inflammation happening internally. And therefore, this is how we should be addressing it for long-term sustainable results. The number two is rosacea is genetic. So you have seen that genetics do play a big role in the tree. It's one of them, the big three roots of the tree. And there's a large body of work that's called epigenetics, and it's the way your environment, your lifestyle, and your emotional health is affecting the way your genes are being expressed. And so to say that it's genetic and there's nothing you can do about it is another, almost like a limiting belief, because any doctor on earth knows that your genes, the way your genes are being expressed, can be impacted by your environment. And therefore, how about instead of focusing on the glass half empty, thinking that, oh, it's genetic, there's nothing we can do about it, let's see the glass half full and say there's genetic predispositions, but there's so much things I can do to support my health so that those genes don't necessarily need to be expressed. And that's my perspective. And the third myth is there's no cure. I think that when we say there's no cure, again, such a limiting belief, because for all of us suffering from rosacea, it's like, well, there's no cure. So I'm going to try all of these things with not much hope that it's going to work anyways. And then when it doesn't work, because it wasn't the right strategy for me, because it wasn't the right structure for me, it's going to reinforce the idea that there's no cure, when the reality is that we just didn't approach it the right way. So there's no cure. I would agree to say that there's no magic pill that it's going to work in a reproducible way, on a large panel of population, that I agree with. And the reason why there's no cure is because rosacea-like symptoms can appear as a result of so many different things happening internally. A person can come to me and say, Athina, I have rosacea, and it's something happening in the nervous system in the gut. And another person comes to me and they have like hypothyroidism, and it's more of an hormonal thing. So of course, if they try the same strategy, it's not necessarily going to work because their skin symptoms that doesn't come from the same place. So I think that's why identifying your root causes is such a key thing to understanding what's happening for you, not for the neighbor, not for the lady in the forum, but understand what's happening for you, tune into this, address this, and that's when you're going to be able to see results, not a cure, because obviously the goal is to identify what's happening in your roots, address that, address the imbalances, and then you somewhat have to maintain the healthy lifestyle that has gotten you to getting good results with your skin, because ultimately if you go back to the lifestyle you used to live that led you to your rosacea, it's most likely going to come back. So again, if you feel like you've tried everything, it hasn't worked, please don't fall into the trap of thinking that, there's no cure and it's never, it's never going to, I'm going to have to live with this forever. I'm going to have to manage this forever. No, it's because you haven't been given the full picture. You haven't been given the full puzzle, just like a few pieces here and there. And it's not a single cream. It's not a single diet. It's not a supplement that's going to fix your skin. And most importantly, it's going to be different from one person to another. So trying to get inspired by other people is helpful sometimes, but also sometimes can get you stuck. So this is what I teach. Again, this is what I have lived. This is what I studied. This is somehow where my career guided me. And yeah, my mission today is to spread this information, spread the fruit of my research, spread my experience, and also, my experience working with other women, so that you ultimately find a way out of this never-ending loop of trial and error and staying stuck. Because ultimately what I know for sure from being there is that yes, it's something affecting your skin, but it just affects your entire life. And living with such a visible chronic skin problem is something that affects your entire life, is something that affects your relationship, is something that affects the way you show up in the world. And ultimately, I'm here to help you heal your skin so that you can just show up as the best version of yourself, because I've been through it. I know how it feels like. And I know how energy consuming, how emotionally draining it can be. And so I've made it my mission to guide you on this journey. So if you are, if anything resonates, if you feel like anything is like, oh, wow, this may have been the missing piece for me, then follow along. I share a lot of information on here. I share a lot of information on my Instagram. My website also has a lot of resources, my blog and my research page where you can, where I list pretty much all the research, and I try to update it once a month. So I invite you to join all of those. I also have a newsletter. I'm trying to spread the word, people. So yeah, follow along and I'll talk to you soon. Let me know in the comment if anything resonated, and also let me know if there's any specific topic that you'd like for me to address in future videos.